This is Fabulously Normal. Real people, real stories. The flip side to 40 with Tara. Okay, welcome to another episode of Fabulously Normal. I'm here with my beautiful friend Alexis. I will get you to introduce your title. What is it that you do, Alexis? Who are you?
Well, I'm a general practitioner of naturopathic medicine, which means that I see people from all walks of life for all conditions.
Yep.
My area of particular interest is the nervous system, mostly because that's what I've found to be the most powerful way to get benefits, and it connects the mind and the body, right? That's where it's at.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, we've been friends a very long time. We went to school together, so we are same age and stage of life. We have done similar pathways a little bit. We've partnered and become parents. And then now different partners, not the same ones to our father, the children. So it's an interesting
We've had some
story.
Single motherhood experiences that we've shared. I would say we're also probably leaning to the creative more than most of our cohort.
Yes.
We danced together. We did jazz.
Still got some jazz hands.
Still have. And you were always an inspiration for someone who was happy to speak their mind, happy to be themselves. So yes, that's
and same. You are she's a very inspiring woman, and I'm sure inspires many through your work as well. So I'd like to sort of go into that space. Obviously we were 17 when we finished high school. So from that pathway of when you finished high school, where did you go? Just basically in that sort of maybe 10 years of those after school 10 years.
Oh, they were fun. They were fun years.
Yeah.
Well, they all were, but okay, so I did a Rotary exchange for a year.
Wow.
And then came back to university, completed my studies in naturopathy. While I was doing that, I did a fair amount of massage so that I put myself through school, and also learned to become a yoga teacher, and was working at gyms around Sydney CBD while I finished my studies. Moved up to the North Coast, did a lot of dancing around the Byron Bay area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay, fun.
It was.
Paid?
Not paid. I was paying to do the course. Yeah.
So I guess that's sort of an interest space. You were healing already, like massage, doing the cognitive work with the learning, being involved your own body through the dancing. Where did the interest come from to sort of explore healing the body and the mind, I guess, if you're looking at it that way?
Nice question.
Where did it start for little Alexis?
Yeah, well, okay, so the date that I can recall making the decision to become a naturopath was the day that my mum took my brother to a naturopath up at Paddington, a beautiful Queenslander, and I walked in and the smell was enough to make me feel completely at home. I remember saying, Mum, this is it, this is what I want to do. I'd like to be a naturopath.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful moment.
It was.
So then you just sort of started your pathway in that space, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a part of me in high school. I know my girlfriends used to say, what does Alexis say? Can you eat too many tomatoes?
I do remember her telling me that if I had an oily forehead to like use the back of my hand.
Every time.
No, you told me, babe. I did not have those then.
You might explain how gorgeous.
So even then, and I mean, dancing together and being playful and joyous is definitely something we have in common. Even though I obviously didn't follow the same pathway. Educating too, like we both educate. Obviously, I teach students, younger students. And do you just deal with adults or children as well?
I do work with kids,
Wow.
and increasingly with families.
Nice.
But that's so interesting as you're talking, you're making me see just how many of the feminine roles we have taken on, not just motherhood, but education,
nurture,
health, they're all pretty typically feminine roles. Even the creativity I would put more in a feminine line.
Definitely. And playful, what do you think about being playful? It's not necessarily something that I would associate with men, although I know a lot of playful men. I love being playful. I think it's important, and that's what this is all about. It's about celebrating that space as we get older, to continuously be brave, be bold, be fun, take risks, and that energy that I think sometimes is a little bit childlike, that we can squash as it gets older, because we want to take these pathways that maybe the voices are telling us that no, don't behave in that way, or don't do that, or the conventional buying houses, or getting married, or having children, or one partner for the rest of your life. And then if you step off that pathway, how you process those feelings, that's very interesting, but we could probably talk about that.
I love it. I love that you brought the child. It's the inner child that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I said even before we started that that's something I can see in you, that you've preserved your child. And you're right, not everybody does. And I think that the adult, the inner adult, is pretty perpetually there, monitoring, critiquing, shoulding. And while there's a place, obviously, for being responsible.
Absolutely.
For showing up, for being accountable, maintaining all the attachment type qualities, there's so much to be said. And I see it time and time again in here. Someone who's our age, in fact, the client who just left said it herself, that around time of motherhood, when it becomes all about the children or the partner, as a loss of self.
Absolutely. I felt that hugely.
Did you?
I definitely had a grieving space for myself after my eldest child was born, and I remember thinking, you're so torn, like you feel like a sense of guilt, like how can I make this all about me when I've got this beautiful baby? But I think because I'd had this amazing television career, and I had been in this creative space, this high energy, a lot of performing, and then I was now at home with a baby, and you don't really know what you're doing. And as much as I loved that, I was like, well, where's that other part of me gone? I wanted to go to gigs and music and just the freedom, I guess. The freedom's lost, so I can relate to that big time.
Yes, freedom is a part of it, and play, I think, was the word we used, playful.
Yeah.
So often, the theme I've seen is that if women don't connect with it, and I'm sure fathers and men have a similar experience. But I work mostly with women who have not stayed in contact with that part of themselves for decades, and then heavily invested in work, and then reach a point where kids are leaving home. That's usually where I see women saying, I don't even know who I am.
Totally.
Clueless. What do I want to do? How do I want to be? And unless there is that connection with yourself, your imagination.
Oh, totally.
How do you even source it?
I completely agree. And even the men that I have come into contact with as a single woman, and a lot of them say the same things. And I think too, when that role of the husband sort of falls down for them, or the lifelong partner, then they're lost. It's like, well, who am I? Who am I about, just as an individual? And I make this joke. My friend, he'll laugh at this if he ever sees this, about I made him do a mood board.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Like literally when we first met, I was like, well, just do a mood board. What a great idea. Everyone should just do a mood board for their life. And he was like, what do you do? How do you do a mood board? I'm like, I don't know, you can do it digitally, you can find things on the internet, stick it on a Pinterest, or you can put it in a Word doc, whatever. Or you could go old school, cut things out of magazines, doodle and write, pictures, get a canvas, whatever, dude, it's yours. Start with what makes me laugh, what do I find fun, what lights me up, who are the people in my life, you know, like, and I was like, just start building that, and then you'll start seeing the picture of yourself, because I was like, you're just a bit lost. And he makes this joke about the mood board. Like, it was very, like, it was very simple, but he did it. Yeah, and he still quotes it today. Like, it was a really good task. Everyone should do a mood board.
Well, you really should. Right now, just get
out,
scissors,
get your magazines,
whatever you've got.
Yeah, exactly. Doodle cut, paint, get in there, finger painting, whatever you want.
Maybe there's a little workshop.
I love it. Yeah, I get the kids at school to do it.
And you can never, like, you can't go wrong, and you can do it over and over again.
Absolutely. There is no wrong.
No.
Like, you look at a magazine, something draws you, like the colour, the picture, the font, like, it doesn't matter. It just speaks to you. And I think if you're not tuning into, like, well, what do I like? What lights me up? What makes me happy? What brings me joy? And you've not spent enough time just even considering it, then you find it really hard to, like you said before, go into that space. Where's your fountain? What are you reaching? Where's your source?
Fountain. No, that's very apt. I've got a client who, she's a local woman. She runs her own business. She's incredibly competent, and she comes but she's quite not conservative, but not
measured.
She's measured.
I like a good measured person.
Yes, I'm probably a bit more measured myself. Anyway, she comes in and tells me these incredible dreams that are rich with detail.
Yeah, wow.
And they're all very fashion oriented.
Yeah.
And she's not in fashion at all. And it's just there's obviously a side to her that's a fountain.
Yeah.
It's got natural inspiration.
Yeah.
Endless
colour and texture.
You
should take her into a fabric shop. Just get her to choose samples. Yeah. And she should just buy like 10 centimetres of whatever fabric speaks to her.
Oh, I love
Stick it on
that.
a board. She could have a textured, coloured fabric mood board.
Oh, I'm saying she could have a mood body.
Yeah.
Like one of those mannequins.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to show. I nearly brought my mannequin for Fabulously Normal at one of the events.
You've got one.
I love a good mannequin. Secretly, I've got a thing for mannequins.
I feel like I knew that about you.
Yeah, I know. I probably brought it up at some point, and I wanted to. This is a complete side note, but I wanted to mosaic mannequin in like mirrored. I wanted to do legs, and I wanted them coming out of like a garden. It was like some random idea. I don't know where I got it from. I know, but at the party I had, at one of my events, I had a mannequin and she wore a sequin dress. Oh, yes. And I liked it because she had movement, and it was sort of going, it was a bit of a, do you say juxtaposition to what I'm all about, which is about living. And she's plastic, so she's not even dead. She's just a mold. And then I was like, well, that's plastic life. And I'm not about that. I'm about fun and living. So she was sort of like this symbol on the bar. And she had a necklace and it said Fabulously Normal.
Oh, I'd like to see her. Does she have a name?
No, but we could give her a name.
It's coming.
Fountain.
Shimmering.
She was very shimmering. She was totally shimmering. Okay, I digress because that's what I'm good at doing.
But I do love the digressions because they take us to these beautiful images.
They do.
That is what a mood board is. It is a symbol of something that means something. So now we've got the shimmering. What if shimmering? Look, it's already morphing.
Yeah, shimmering fountain.
Shimmering fountain. This is exactly what Carl Jung spoke about when he encouraged his patients to access their unconscious.
Yeah.
Specifically through dreams, just as an avenue to tap into the underlying self, not the cerebral, but the deep instinctive parts of the brain.
I've always dreamt, you might remember that about me, I have dreamt vividly my entire life. Really, really deep dreams.
Oh, we can have some fun with that.
Yeah, totally. And I got a dream dictionary, I think, for my 18th birthday, and I've still got it to this day. And I constantly looked through it, and now obviously I'm better at unpacking my dreams. But I find it interesting when I dream in colour versus black and white, or whether I travel, or where I go, or who I'm with. And like superpowers. I've had superpowers in my dream.
What superpowers go on?
Okay, so once in my dream I was flying, but it was like with a jetpack out of my feet. Like I just was like, yeah, and I could just go wherever I wanted. Yeah, up in the sky, fly. Yeah, like an Astro Boy kind of thing. But it was real, so I was flying in my dreams wherever I wanted to visit.
What did you do with your arms?
Just down. Just like aerodynamics down. Yeah. But I remember being able to just go flick it on, flick it off. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like, I love dreaming. Anyway.
And an embodied.
Yes, yes.
The closest I've got was second pregnancy. I'm in the bath and I'm tapping into the experience of the first giving birth. Because my sense is when there's an embodied dream, or even imagining, that there's quite a powerful shift. You're tapping part of you that was obviously there but not really experienced. So to experience that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, the unconscious and the conscious, and that's always blown my mind, what I can unpack in my unconscious sleeping state. I'll tell you something funny. I've dreamt I've gone to bed in my dream. Like double downing on sleep.
Oh wow. So
I was like, wow, I must be really tired. And I go in my dream. Oh, a little tired. I'm tired of this busy dream world. I should just go to bed and have another sleep on top of the sleep I'm already having.
You do that multiple times.
Funniest thing you've ever heard.
In the dream, you could have then gone to sleep.
Yeah, well, it's infinite, isn't it? It's like the mirror to the mirror.
Well, it is.
Trippy, man. Trippy. Anyway, we want to hear more about your story. So let's go with the naturopathy. And how old were you when you finished your course, sort of graduating, and you were ready to then be a practitioner?
So I would have been early 20s, and I'd already been teaching in gyms, and I'd already had a number of clients in Sydney. And then I moved to Brisbane, and that was where I launched in Brisbane City.
Yep.
And that,
I remember that. You had that clinic on the corner of Ann Street, up the top of Metro Arts, somewhere near there.
Edward and Margaret, I was for the first 5 years. Yeah, so fantastic. A lot of clients from Eagle Street. And then yes, I moved to Metro Arts for the last probably the last 10 years I was in the city.
Yep.
So that was a very creative space. Still mostly corporates coming from a lot of law firms I was working with at the time. So that was a quite a powerful time in my life, because yoga, mindfulness was really just emerging. So to work in the corporate wellness with the Australian Taxation Office and organisations that were very straight-laced at the time, that these more
ideas.
Ideas were emerging.
That's great.
That was very exciting.
And also, I think what's exciting is you were then a businesswoman as well. Did you see yourself in that space as a strong part of your identity? Because you've always been such a creative person and vibrant and knowledgeable, and then you had to have a business, a business head as well. How did that go? How did that feel?
I love the business side. I remember, I remember counting money.
Yeah.
A lot in my early 20s. This is all cash.
Because there was money, not like now. Blip, blip, blip,
right.
blip, blip. That's it.
Yeah.
You pay wink.
Yes. Good. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah.
So business is, it's a good question, because the practice, I think for most people who are interested in wellness and health and medicine, are much more interested in the body and the mind. And then, it probably yeah, it probably took quite a while to really appreciate that business was necessary to do what I do.
Fantastic. Did you have to do a course?
Not in business.
No.
No, I mean, I've been born to a family of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I think that helps.
And you're naturally quite bright, darling.
Oh, that's very kind.
Yeah, I remember doing a lot of maths. I think we were in the same maths class at school.
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you obviously, you have skills already.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I think it was really doing postgrad that highlighted the value of the quantitative side, and only recently with a new coach have I really started to become much more focused on the dollar.
Fantastic. So this is a sort of, how old were you when you had your children?
29 when my daughter was born.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
Feels so young, doesn't it, 29?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the average is these days, but I would
Later.
have thought,
much
early
later.
30s.
Yep.
Mhm.
Late 30s even, I think,
Do
is
you
an average.
think?
Yeah.
Your first was born when?
33.
33.
And 39.
I'm 39. Wow,
It just slid in the
You did
second
well.
before the 40, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
It's a good time, 30s, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's a good age to have a child, and I think establishing your career, and I had a big gap between my two. There's 5 years, so that was good to be able to, I don't know, get my head together around my career, and also getting the first one off to school when the second one came along. So I didn't actually have them both at the same time at home, which, you know, hats off to all those parents that do that. And twins. I mean, anybody that has twins, I just credit to you.
Next level.
Yeah.
But I love that you've raised that balancing act of motherhood and career, because it's actually, given that so many of us do it,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be that much language around it. And it's really just to figure it out, make it work. How are you going to juggle, literally?
Absolutely.
And
all
tough,
of it. Yeah.
really tough. How did you go with that?
I think it's such a physical space too, mothering, and if you're breastfeeding or anything like that, and there's a lot of touch, and I remember feeling touched out, and I remember just, you know, the sleeplessness, and then there's the food prep, and so there's a lot of that space that's draining, and then the love that you have, and there's a completely new space of this motherhood story, which I loved as well. And the part for me that was always missing was that creativity. And I changed careers as well. So I worked in media, and I filmed all through with my first child. And then when the second one came along, I went back into teaching. So I felt a loss of this creativity, even though teaching, I'm quite creative. So for me, it was always like a trifecta. I loved being a mum. I was really enjoying that space. And then the professional hat of I love being a teacher as well. But the third part for me was always the creative self. And, you know, and look, now at 46, getting this off the ground, because my youngest is now a bit older. So it never went away. I just had to keep nurturing it in different ways. I had to keep tapping into it, keep trying different things. And I didn't want to ignore it completely. It just kept the embers burning, you know, even though I didn't have the capacity to give more energy wise, but I didn't want it to disappear. So I was always like, blow a little air on it, just keep it alive a little bit, until the timing was right. The timing for my head as well, you know, the head and the heart and the body and that relationship. That's such a journey. It's such a journey.
But it is quite a feminine thing, creativity. And my experience of creativity, I'm interested in what it is in your body.
Where it sits.
Yes, and what actually is creativity. But for me, it's an emerging. I guess sometimes it comes up, but mostly I think it's like a birth process, and I don't really know what's coming out half the time.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of it, though. It's trusting the creative self and being organic with it and being authentic. And I think once I got rid of the fear that it's okay to be me, be authentic, and valuing my skill set and acknowledging it, and then going, okay, well, you can just try. It's okay to try. I think what helped for me as well is imagining what I would say to my own children if they were in this position, or they were me, or they were having conflict. What advice would I give them? And then that, I was like, well, then that's what I should be saying to myself.
So what was that advice? You've got to tell us now.
Yeah, well, it was, to be honest, it was around facing the fear. It was definitely around being 45 and putting myself out there physically, and the energy required, and juggling the full-time job. And I just remember thinking, if it brings you joy, do it. If it sparks this joy inside you, then do it. You're not locked down, Tara. You know, if I don't like it, then that's okay. But at least I gave it a go, because I think the saddest part is time fast forwarding another 5 years and turning around and thinking to myself, I wish I had. And I thought, I don't want to wish I had anymore. I'm just going to start and be okay with whatever comes out. So that's why this is, you know, I like to think of it as like 80s style. It's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Raw.
Yeah, free flowing.
It's got a vibe.
It's got a vibe with the toss it back and forth.
I know.
No, the 80s comes out quite a lot. But what I love about what you've just said is it's about acknowledging the skill set and then trusting. So it's some kind of balance of, you know, who am I? What's emerging? And who am I becoming?
And embracing the fear. Embracing the fear. It's okay to be afraid. That's okay, you know.
Actually exciting.
It is exciting. And if I let the fear be the loudest voice in the room, then I won't actually achieve anything. But it can still be in the room. It can just be quieter. And let the joy and the excitement and the rush, and believe in what I'm doing. You know, I love hearing people's stories. I love the journey people have taken. And so that lights me up. And just holding on to that, that's what lights me up. So, thanks, Alexis.
Thanks.
She's good at her job, isn't she?
Thanks, Tara. Yeah, well, good fun talking with you.
So let's go back to, so now we've got the naturopathy, it's all happening, you're now the businesswoman, off you go, you're on your journey. Then add motherhood into there. So you've got the personal and professional story running parallel, as so many women do. Then let's talk about the sort of 30, let's go with about 35 plus. So the last 10 years. Now you have done something quite remarkable. It's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And I do admire anybody that takes on a big cognitive challenge like study, when you've got a business, you've got children, a relationship, cats, pets, whatever you've got as well, and then your sense of self, like, you know, the fun, you've got to have your life too. And then you undertook some serious studies and she's finished. So tell us, what was it that you finished?
Okay.
Pretty exciting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I finished my pre-med studies, and that was arduous. Thank you for putting words to it, because it was just go. It was just go, and it was very empowering. I mean, it was probably 30 years since I'd really done a lot of math, particularly. So it was basically picking up grade 12 math again.
Gosh.
And it was great. Good to know it's still there, and fascinating to remember, you know, the quadratic formula. Do you remember?
C squared equals A squared plus B squared?
Oh,
No.
very close. But fun, actually fun to come with a creative perspective. And so physics, biology I already had, but the physics was brand new as well. So it was wonderful to wake up again. And a part of GAMSAT, that's the entrance to med exam, is knowing current affairs and being across politics and making sure that there's a broad general knowledge. So that's something that most people don't know about entrance to med. and that in itself really just sharpened me up. So much more of a global perspective, I'd say, since studying pre-med.
I love that you have married so beautifully, almost like two parts of yourself in a way, like the scientist and the healer. And you now talk about this body whispering, which I love that's such a great term, because for me it's those two worlds combined. I think the ultimate would be to work with somebody as a practitioner that has a lot of scientific knowledge, but can also take the wisdom of the natural medicines in the world and combine them together. So I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you for hearing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's great.
And I mean, the reality is anatomy is freaking fascinating. It's fascinating in a book. It's even more fascinating in your own experience to, acknowledge that here's my trachea and here's my voice box and here's my sternocleidomastoid. Like, to be able to identify and then feel and then have an embodied experience of your own anatomy is powerful in itself. And so thank you
so proud of you.
Oh,
so good.
It's good to be me.
Yeah, and I think what an incredible achievement. I mean, not just the business that you're operating, the mother that you are, and now you've got these grown-up kids, and I've still got little kids, which is cool. Finishing these amazing studies, and halfway through our life, this is the midway point.
Yeah, we're only at the top of the hill.
Yeah, it's not a hill.
At least we can keep going. Maybe, who knows?
Maybe we got to the top of the cliff, and now we're just flying high along the top.
No, I'm going to let go of the hill. That's
not
a good one.
Because we don't want to
keep going. I prefer the rockets.
Just up into space.
Up and up, yeah.
So now, where to for you? The next 10 years, what do you sort of imagine yourself doing or taking risks on, or what are you interested in doing with yourself or your business? Or
it's so nice to be on the receiving end of questions, right?
I can imagine.
Well, my business and what I do is like breath. It's like breakfast. It'll always be a part of me, and I feel incredibly blessed to have the clients that I have who continue to come. It still surprises me. It's still coming, but I've started to dabble in a little bit of property, just dabbling.
Nice.
That's my family's business.
Yep.
My parents are architects. You probably knew. So that's been a beautiful reconnection with them.
Great.
And a part of myself that was there but I didn't really know about. So property will certainly be a part of my future, and there's a few big goals in the pipeline. A vision that's been brewing. Well, there's a lot of visions now. I use that word. I'm like, wow.
You need to do a mood board.
Mood board. Yeah, mood board. I do.
Yours is a vision board, though.
It is a vision board.
Yeah.
So community has become, I think, in the last 5 years, really central to me, and that's not going away. And again, I feel so lucky to be in a community geographically, but also part of I don't know if you'd call it a spiritual community, but we share a practice, and that's been very central to the last 5 years. So I think that'll keep growing.
Yeah, beautiful.
But we've got retreats coming up. More working with groups, with families, even with couples.
Yeah, wow.
So that's been a new challenge of complexity that I don't think I dreamed I would be able to handle the complexity that I find myself in daily. If I was 10 years ago looking at me now. So I hope to be able to have the skills and the nuance and the sophistication to continue growing more with that rich in-depth inquiry that happens in the interpersonal space with multiple people. So,
and I can imagine like multiple aspects of society, families, children, individuals, couples. You know, you've got this skill set that can be used to anybody in the community. So I guess you could just continue to grow. That's amazing. Do couples counselling?
I don't know if I keep saying I'm not a couples counsellor. What you do is experiential. So, you know, like you would do with your kids, the change happens in the body through the process. Even more so. I mean, conversations, of course, but no, I don't think I'll ever be a couples counsellor. Leave that to someone else.
I think that's part of the wisdom too as you get older. You do know what you're good at and what you can let others be good at. You know, source that out.
Yes, and on that, I think there's also a lot to be said for collaboration. And that's a real interest. You know, given that we're all in the prime of our lives, and we've got a sense of who we are and our place in the world, and how do we fit together? Again, it takes a lot of trust to see what is going to emerge, just like this conversation.
Totally.
But how powerful!
It's so good, and that's why I'm just starting with the pool of the people I have, and I've always had a really big social circle and connections and part of the story to my life, and now I'm just like drawing on all of that, and that's building that community of fabulous people. And I love that actually the people that I'm interviewing are not all women too, which is great. The first interview I did was with a man, and another yogi. Really great story. So
I have to listen to his story.
I think you'd really like it. But I'm going to ask you a couple of random questions now, okay? All right. What have you said yes to recently that's a bit of like a push or a stretch?
Yes.
What have you said yes to?
Oh, gosh, isn't that interesting? I've said, well, the first thing that comes to my mind is a couple of retreats that are coming up. And I've said yes to my business partner to doing some more work with her, and within that I've said yes to being a little bit more experimental. And notice my voice is going, are you really doing this? Yes, I'm really doing it. Are you sure?
Good.
So we're talking about doing things like a non-psychedelic experience. So we don't take psychedelics. We'll probably do cacao just so we all share in something ritualistic. But I'm quite excited to immerse in the experiential space, especially with her. We banter really beautifully, and you know, to be aware of what parts of the mind we're tapping into when we are trusting what the body wants to do, for example. And so I'm saying yes to being more experimental.
Love that. That's awesome.
Wish me luck.
I do. Yeah, you're going to be great.
Oh, thanks.
You're going to be great.
It'll be fun.
Okay, how do you show your mates that how you love and care about them?
Food?
Yeah. Cooking or providing some food?
Yeah. And wholesome food. You know, like I think probably the greatest gift I could give someone is a juice. Or maybe a bunch of fresh herbs. You know, like something just uber nutritious.
I love that. People turn up with bouquets of flowers and you're like, just eat that celery.
Well, you see my kitchen.
Beetroot.
Literally celery sitting in the vase. Not joking.
That's so cool. Okay, that's awesome.
Good question.
All right, what is love over 40?
Okay, God, that's a fun one. If you're not yet 40, you're in for a treat. Love over 40 for me is empowering. It's around exploring my power. It's around observing differences between masculine and feminine. And it's about standing in parts of myself that are really only maturing now. I'm over 40.
Yeah, beautiful. That's nice.
I want to know what love is for you. Over 40 times. Oh, God, let's come back to that.
Off camera. Okay, so what pearl of wisdom would you give your 30-year-old self?
Oh, wow, okay. I'd say Alexis. Wow. If you could focus now on your achievements to date, acknowledge even back at school, you freaking nailed biology, you freaking nailed school, girl. Like, just tell everyone, be a boy, you know.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, and speak out your achievements. Speak out the fact that you've graduated from pre-med, speak out the fact that you sat the GANSAT multiple times, speak out about your achievements, your post-grad studies, speak out about the fact that you nailed biostats, speak out about all of the wonderful things, and speak out about how proud you are of what you do, even though it's mostly one-on-one and there's no one saying great job. Just tell yourself now what a great job you're doing, darling. Keep going, you're doing a beautiful job.
That's awesome.
Obviously needed that one.
You are welcome. Okay, what's the best thing about aging?
That's confidence, right?
I would agree on that.
Yes, but not necessarily confidence as I thought it was at high school or even in my 20s. I think confidence is something quite different now.
Like more of a self-awareness confidence as opposed to an ego confidence. I look at high school as a bit of an ego confidence space that there was a lot of external factors that you felt like you had to measure up to be a part of or, you know, to have that confidence. Whereas now it's more internal, that confidence, and you're not worried about what other people think. There's that that self-awareness of self-love, maybe.
Even to the point of differentiating from my family, I think that's probably been a massive one. And interestingly, to feel a stronger sense of belonging to my family through seeking less of their approval.
Your own power. Yeah, nice. That's beautiful. There's some wisdom for you. Okay. How do you stay fun?
Oh, nice. Well, I have chats to people like you. Yeah, I think friends are key to fun, but I do have a lot of fun on my own. Music, a lot of music happens. Dancing regularly. What else? I think that's probably it. My daughter is a teenager and her girlfriends are seriously fun. They really,
I can't wait.
Oh, they're amazing. And football. My son's football is fun. I just really get out there and let loose. It's like I'm coaching them. Well, I think I'm coaching them. Keep staying fun. I think is probably what you were saying earlier about not being so concerned with others and just letting the self emerge.
Super. All right. Okay, what has made you laugh recently? Anything? What made you laugh out loud? This
laughing a lot since you've been in my house.
Yeah,
I love laughing with people. My partner makes me laugh.
That's good.
He's smart. They're smart.
The witty banter, is it? Like that?
It's more like a one-liner.
Oh, nice.
That's just really intelligent and quietly delivered. And when it's all so serious and we just needed that light moment. That was the last one I remember.
Yay, that's great. All right, well, you have nailed the Fabulously Normal.
They're fun questions.
Thank you so much, Alexis. You are dreamboat friend, beautiful person. You are halfway, and I can't wait to see what you do with the next 40 years of us running along the cliff.
That's right. Still with you, baby. How's it going over there? Great, man. Nice shimmering
working on my vision board. Thank you, darling.
Thank
it's a pleasure.
you, Tazi. Come here.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for listening if you did.